everybody. 8:10 a.m. May 6th. Welcome to my channel. Sorry I couldn't do a feed on Friday. That little cold I had got the best of me that morning. So I didn't do anything. But anyway, what happened on Friday? You had Apple mentioning a huge, I believe it's $110 billion buyback program, even though they didn't even grow revenue again. And that propelled the stock higher. I think it was the largest move in Apple since for a pretty decent amount of time. And then you had NFP and unemployment, where they were both misses, and that's positive for the market because Powell said if there's the way they're going to cut is one of them if unemployment starts to tick up, which it did. That's why the market liked it. That's why the market gapped up. All right, and then we just held the gap. All right, we held the gap. We didn't go all out after that, but we held it. Right. And the market was very odd last week. Very, when I'm trading, the order flow was very kind of weird. Um, there was a lot of push and pull in the markets, and I might go into detail a little bit of what I saw, even going over it on the weekend, because the market was just very weird. Had relatively low volume besides FOMC, a lot of chopping around. All right. So without further ado, without that explanation, right? Let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name's Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, anchored VWAPs, the most traded price of the year, the rolling month, the rolling week, and the previous day. Just all helps me. Basically, is my foundation to read the market, and I will do that around 8:30. I'll give scenarios and basically trade scenarios. Not exactly what I think the market will do, what I want the market to do, and sometimes, a lot of times, it is what the market does in scenarios. Okay, so that's basically, you see my philosophy, and you know, in the morning, I'll just briefly go over news, charts, economic calendar, what could be expected in the market, and like I said, then I go into scenarios. So hopefully you enjoy it and you get something out of it. I know market profile and volume profile to some people could look like Chinese or confusing, and that's not trying to take offense to Chinese. I'm just saying if American looks at Chinese, it basically, it's hard to understand it, very difficult to understand it. So I should just say very hard to understand. I apologize for that. So let's get into this. Let's get into the futures watch list. Boom. There we go. And boom. All right. Now Bitcoin. Bitcoin pulled back last week, broke that 60K. Well, guess what? It's getting bought up. So Bitcoin's up 3.3%. Ether's up 2.54%. Silver's up 2.3%. VIX is up 2%. Crude getting some love. Heard Saudis raising the price on oil. And what is that? Hamas and Israel cannot find peace. So Russell's up 0.81. Gold's up 0.66 after a pullback. ES up 0.36. The Dow's up 0.33. The Nasdaq's up 0.26. 30-year bonds being bought. 30-year bonds being bought. So 10-year yields did slide back a little bit. Now the 10-year yield did come off with that weak employment numbers, and the dollar is basically flat. Okay, and it's pretty much almost nothing's negative on the board. All right, moving on to Mag 7 Plus. Let's look at this coin. No surprise here, up 2.49%, even after earnings last week. With Bitcoin being up. All right, AMD got an upgrade. They are up 2%. Shocker. Tesla's up 0.92. Snow up 0.73. I believe Snow reports not this week, next week. Yeah, next week. Okay, Meta up. I mean, everything's just up, right? It's all happy here except Apple. Now I believe Apple might be down a little bit because Warren Buffett lowered some of his stake in the stock, even though it's his largest holding. Maybe that it was down more before, it was down 1%. So that's what's going on there. Moving on to the top sector stocks. Okay, Disney reports earnings this week. They report, let's see here, on 5/7. Yeah, 5/7. So tomorrow. Okay, they are up 0.84. Morgan Stanley's at 0.65. Qualcomm's up 0.65. Had reported earnings last week. Eli Lilly up 0.64. Okay, now laggard, there is not one on the board. Let's go to the swing trade list. All right, let's go to the swing trade list. MicroStrategy, no surprise, you're going to have these Bitcoin related stocks. 6.4. MicroStrategy matters at 5.25. Palantir reports earnings. I don't think they reported yet. Earnings on 5/6 after market, so they report today. Okay, but they're up ahead of earnings. All right, Robinhood up 3.34. Bitcoin ETF up 3.28. Paramount Global up 3.18. Micron got an upgrade. Riot's up 2.78. Tilray, ARM, and the usual suspects are up. Okay, is there negatives? Is there laggards? Let's see. GME, GameStop down 7.41%. Donald Trump down 2%. AMC down 1.52, probably in sympathy with GameStop. Workday down 1.48. There you go. There's the laggards. Let's go back to the top sectors, and we go to sectors. Sectors, let's look at the sectors pre-market. Energy, getting the most love, up 0.58, followed by financials, up 0.54. Okay, followed by semis, up 0.5, followed by, all these are just positive, not a negative sector this morning. Okay, not a negative sector. Continuing the momentum. Okay, now, what are we going to get into now? We are going to get into the economic calendar, some news. We're going to get into some the earnings this week. Okay, let's get into that. Boom. Let's move over here. Boom. All right. Let's look at this week together. Okay. Okay. So today and this week we have Fed speak. All right. There's not a huge data that comes out this week. Okay. So we got Fed Barkin at 12:50. Fed Williams at 1. That's fine because that's pretty much after I interested in trading. That's great. Kashgari at 11:30 on Tuesday. Okay, Wednesday you got crude inventory, 10-year note auction, Fed Jefferson, all right, Fed Cook. Thursday initial jobless claims. Now the one here is the 30-year bond auction on Thursday at 1 p.m. So usually I'm not trading there, so that's not really going to be a thing, but that has been moving the market lately. Okay, Friday we got Fed Bowman at 9 a.m. and you got Michigan consumer sentiment. That's probably the most impactful one of the week. Fed Goolsbee, Fed Bar. All right, that's what we got going on there. All right, there's nothing really in the juice today that's really making me anything there. Nothing really here that I was gonna say. Already talked about why the market moved up. All right, let's look at here. All right, so this is some of the stuff maybe for Apple. So Buffett says Berkshire Hathaway in good hands, lauds Apple despite lowering stake. Warren Buffett assured Berkshire Hathaway shareholders inside that the executives expected to succeed him were ready for the job and heaped praise on Apple, although Berkshire trimmed its position. Okay. Lowe's reported higher profit and strong returns. Let's see here. Like I said, I'm only going to go over stuff that I feel is very pertinent to what's going on. Let's see here. I don't really see anything here. Yeah. All right, let's go to upgrades, downgrades. Let's see if this has been updated. It has. All right. So it's easier to read over here. Let's see if this has been updated. Well, it's not exactly the big list like this one. All right, let's see here if anything to note. Upgrades. Micron. There's the Micron upgrade. Price target from 115 to 150. Downgrades. We got Peloton, Victoria's Secret, coverage initiated. Let's see here. All right. Reiterate. Not showing me the AMD upgrade, so let me see if this guy over here shows us that. Alright, let's go to upgrades here. So we got steel was upgraded. What else? Micron. The AMD's not here. What else here? Upgraded. Yeah, okay. Let's go to downgraded. Same stuff. How about targets raised? American Airlines. Let's see. DraftKings. Hood. That's about it. Let's see if anything was target was lowered here. Just Southwest Airlines target lowered. All right, that's about that. Let's go into earnings. Earnings week. Majority of the market movers are pretty much done. All right, so just today, let's see. Spirit reported this morning. Berkshire Hathaway, Tyson. All right, but after the close today, Palantir, Lucid. Tomorrow before the open, Disney, Celsius, Datadog, Nikola, Crocs, BP. Just trying to see notables. Lyft, Win, Uber, Shopify, Affirm. None of these are market movers though. ARM, Robinhood, Airbnb, pretty big names, large caps. Beyond Meat, Duolingo, Roblox, Warner Brothers. What else here? Plug. Just trying to see here. Unity Software, SoundHound, Marathon, AMC. That's what's going on. So like I said, nothing's market moving. Okay. We're done with those. Besides Nvidia coming up next week. Alright. So that kind of wraps up that. I want to get into these daily charts and see if we got time to go over what I was talking about. Okay. Let's do this. It's daily charts, right? Now, what I did notice analyzing over the weekend, okay, we zoom in here, we have a channel going on. We do have a nice little channel. All right, now, what I did notice too, all the indexes, the 50-day moving average came into play. 50-day moving average came into play. All right, so let's talk about, morning there, Chief, the 50-day. Now let's go over what structurally what happened. So this is last week. So this was the previous week's highs. So you noticed how on Friday we opened here and dipped below last week's highs, but then we held it, right? So you get the big gap up, you get that push down when data came out, and you really had like a liquidation break kind of, and then we closed. You see the 50-day moving average right here? And also, look at this little channel. So you got an uptrend here, right? And you got this top of this channel. Look at that. So you got, there's the first touch. 2, 3, 4 touches now. Now I'm not saying this could act as resistance. Okay. Just interesting because this channel is really nice. So this could be, we could bump our heads against this week. And do we go back down to this side? I don't know. I just thought it was very interesting when I looked at it that this channel is here. Okay. And you'll notice the same theme. All right. In other indexes. So where are we now? 513.41, 513.41, 513.41. So of course we're gapping up, right, outside of this channel, right here. Expected move today is $4.53. That would be $4.53. That would be 515. 515. Let's just call it 70 something. 515, 70 something. So could possibly go up to here today. That's the expected move. Now remember, that's also $4.50 the other way. All right, so that's what's going on in the SPY. So above this channel, obviously, would be bullish if you hold it. But if you creep back in, let's just see what happens. Okay. What's great about finally this week is you don't have something that's just going to be like, oh man, this is reporting after the close, or oh god, this big headline risk. So, but the volume's low today. Boy, it is really low. Which, doesn't create a lot of volatility. So, all right, let's move on to the Qs. You're going to see we got ourselves a channel again, right? And look at the 50-day moving average. Right here, resistance, right? The channel, resistance, right there. What was this? Look at the Qs. This was the previous week's highs. Look at that, what happened. Opened here, pushed down with that news, held last week's highs, right to the tick. And then right back up, closed right there to the 50-day and this channel. Now you got 1 touch, 2, 3 touches, 4 touches. Okay? And you got this uptrend here. So, could you see ourselves go like this, go like this, go like this, come down to this channel and go back up? I don't know. Okay, but let's see where we're at now, 437.06. We're gapping up above this channel. So that's kind of bullish, right? Right here. So this is last week's highs right here, which is, just the previous week. The week we just came out of is right here. Right? Obviously, right here is the highs. So do we hold this? And then you got this downtrend line to contend with right here. And you got a lot of mess here. All right. Around here is the most traded price, I believe, of this year. Right in this middle around here. Okay. So a lot of traffic right in here. I don't see us cutting through this at all. So we have to see. Okay. We have to see. So really quickly, let's go over to the Dow and see he's got this channel. And where did it stop? 50-day moving average. See what I'm talking about? 50-day moving average right here. Boom. Let's look at the Russell. Where did it close? Look at this candle. Look at this channel. Hit the channel. Where did it close? Below the 50. So this opened here. Look how bullish that was. Pushed up. Closed all the way below the 50-day. Now, obviously, it's higher. It's back up here. But see that 50-day moving average was just resistance in everything. Okay? Now, what I wanted to show you really quickly, and let's go to this chart here. I just want to show you sector-wise, all right? We'll break it down sectors here. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, I just want to show you this. Okay, so if you look at the sectors, and we'll go by weight. So XLK is 29% of this market, all right? This market did not do a lot. This is last week, right here. Okay? Now these are equivalent bars. It just shows the biggest volume. The only reason that this wouldn't have just been a balancy, garbagey week is because of non-farm payrolls and the Apple earnings. See this big gap, right? That was really it. But if you see the rest of the week, see the most traded price right here was 197 in XLK. If that Apple earnings didn't happen, we would have just had a nothing week. See how it was just bouncing around, right? This is the most traded price of the month right here. So, and then you gap up, right? So that makes sense, right? But this is what moves the market. All right, the second largest is, believe it or not, is financials, and the financials did absolutely nothing. Look at financials last week. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Did nothing. Did nothing. That's why the moves were muted. Okay, let's go to the third, healthcare. You'll see another chop fest. Look at this. Look at last week. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Did nothing. All right. Now, let's go to the next one, discretionary. See that? Look, it was up here, it was down here, and closed here. This just means this is ready for a big breakout here, actually. The most traded price of last week and the most traded price of the month are together. You're going to break out eventually. Okay? But, still, like that's why this market was just like couldn't really get into gear. A lot of chop fests. Okay? I mean, look at it, communications. Communications, a little bit, but not really. Look, it's just in a big range, communications. It's really setting up to break out. So this is why this market earnings, like, you'll have a FOMC, right? You'll have that. You'll have certain things that move, but besides those things, these sectors were just kind of like not doing much. So we have to see what happens, okay? Let me go back to, let's see here. Let's go back to here. And now we're going to look at the triple-headed monster. In that 10-year yield. We can see, of course, I'm forgetting to type the way it has to be typed now. Look at that drop in yields, okay? This is all because the unemployment. Right here. Boom. Bonds being bought, yields fall. Why? Jerome Powell said, if you get weakness in unemployment, which they don't foresee, but guess what? It ticked up unemployment, and you missed non-farm payrolls. So market's looking at, okay, now we can cut. The cuts actually jumped from, I believe, to September now. They're expecting cuts because of the unemployment. Okay? So that finally broke out of that range. Remember I said that. I said this is going to break us out of this range, and it did. Okay? So VIX, fear is starting to creep out of the VIX. Look at this big drop. Boom. Now we're all the way down to 13. So the market is not going to be as volatile. Okay? This all bodes for the markets to make a little pop here. All right, now let's look at the dollar. Dollar also broke out of this range to the downside. It's getting some love right now off the 50-day. Okay? But that was your triple-headed monster. Okay? Now we get into the favorite thing that I like to talk about. And we're going to talk about scenarios now. We're going to look at the market profile, volume profile. Okay? Get right into structure here. We're not wasting any time. Okay, let's look at this market together. Okay, let's look at our profile for the rolling week. A lot of volume down here, but guess what happened? You couldn't sustain it down here, and you brought the market back up. Okay, ugly looking profile. Okay, ugly. Price is here. Okay, you're at 51.77 in the futures right now. So you can just see the market was bought here, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Okay. And of course, Apple earnings and non-farm payrolls. Okay. Now, inventory overnight. Let's look at that. Here's the open. You got this much short to this much long. Pretty balanced. Okay. Even though we're gapping, it's pretty balanced. Okay. I'm already seeing some nuance here. So let's look at the most traded price of the week. It's right here. Price is here. That's bullish, right? Most traded price of the month, right here. Price is here. That's bullish. This is the structure I'm talking about. If you have the most traded price of the month and the week in this area, and price is here, that is bullish. This just means the most traded prices were in this area the last month and the last week, and price is here. So anybody who's short here is in pain, and that you might not have covered yet. So we could get a farther, bigger move today. Okay. That's what that means. Okay, you got your big gap here. This is the gap that was held. You cut into these single prints a little bit, but then you held it, right? Okay, so we do have a gap up. So here's our Friday's highs, Friday's lows. Here you have Friday overnight low, and this is currently the overnight highs. Okay, so we're gapping up. Okay, now let's look at some right off, jumps off the screen to me. Okay, jumps off the screen to me. We have a weak low right here. Market's got to defend this overnight low. Why? And it lines perfectly up. This is where I'm talking about confluence with everybody here. This is why I put these things on the charts. So this is a weak low. Why? It's the overnight low. It's the most traded price of Friday. The price is around 51.57, okay? So right here, and you have a demand zone. The job of the market is to defend that level. Okay, now I just showed you everyone's long from here, 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 and here. And it was the most trades in the futures contracts that was put on at that price. So what happens if we come back and we test this? Now, for bulls, it's time to defend it. For bears, if you break that, okay, if you break that, you're going to get a move down. Now, you got to contend with this most traded price of the week. Okay, you can get, and if you break that, you can get a little more weakness and try to fill this gap. I'm not saying that happens, just saying that's why that level's pivotal. Okay, very pivotal level. Now in a gap, here's the gap fill. How do you look at a gap? A couple ways here. Here's how you judge the strength of it. Okay, gap and goes the strongest. Okay, a failure to fill the gap, but you pull back and you don't fill it is bullish too. Third, you fill the gap and you can still run up. That is those bullish scenarios. Okay, if you price starts going back into Friday's range, that is where this is not as strong. The buyers are not as strong. I'm not saying it's bearish. I'm just saying that's just how you judge the gap. Okay. Now we got our plans. Let's go into scenario. We got our. I'm already seeing what our scenarios are going to be. Okay. Now remember, the market could just run, but that's not a trade for me at least. I'm not going to buy the open. Okay. So what I would like to see, okay, is a little push up. Push up. That's the 50-day moving average in futures also, okay? I would see a push up, probably get some selling here. And then you come into this demand and this weak low. Remember, I said the bulls have to defend this area. If they can defend it even convenient, pushes down real quickly. Higher low, that could be the move. Now you do have single prints above here as well. That could be cleaned. And guess what you have above here, the most traded price of the year at around 52.05. I think that's could be a likely scenario. Okay, now you could also, okay, these are not hard and fast rules. You could come down here and break, but then you got this. What do you got here? Most traded price of the week. You could also get that defended and can move up, right? I like this scenario better, but that's what I like. Okay, now we talking about bearish. We do have overhead supply here and the 50-day moving average, so we're going to push this down a little bit. Okay, you have the 50-day moving average in futures. You do have supply zone up here. You do have the most traded price of the year at 52.05 right there. Okay, so we know we have a weak low here. Bulls have to defend that. Okay, we do know we have 50-day moving average above us in the futures and single prints and demand. I mean supply. Okay, so even if you did push up, I'm expecting to get resistance in here. I'm not a big fan of fading the strength, but this is a possible scenario. You come into here, clean these single prints, hit most traded price of the year, do higher low. Maybe you come back in a little bit. Okay. However, my favorite scenario would be a little push up, just like I said about the bull scenario, but you come down here and you break it and you hold, come down to the most traded price of the week, break it, hold, then you go attack Friday's lows. You might get a bounce here, but however, if you break through that, you're probably going to fill this gap. Okay, you're probably going to fill the gap into this demand zone, into the most traded price of the month, which is about 5,100. We'll have to see how everything shakes out, how everything sets up. Okay, that is your ES scenarios. I'm not sure if I put this up. Excuse me. Okay. All right. Let's look at the NASDAQ. Let's see if it's familiar. Let's see if we have a familiar in sync market. Let's move this down. Okay. Let's look at this together. All right, let's look at the profile. really thin volume right here with the single prints, and that's from the non-farm payrolls. Now you're trying to establish value up here. Nasdaq's most traded price of the week is still all the way down here. Wants to make it up here. That would be bullish if it does that, okay? Price is right here at 180.66. You have a smaller gap right here. Here's price, Friday's highs. You have a smaller gap in the Nasdaq, okay? Inventory is a little different. You have this much long to this much short, okay? See, but the structure is very similar, okay? Now, right off the bat, if you just saw what I did in the last scenario, you can see here, what do we have? Here's the overnight low in the most traded price of the week. I mean, most traded price of Friday right here in the demand zone. Again, and that price is 179.83. This is the place the bulls have to defend. Now you have single prints that have not been cleaned from the past, so I expect to get pushed and clean those, okay? 50-day moving average in the futures is right here in the Nasdaq, okay? So that's above us as well. Now, I forgot to switch over. I will try to do that if we have a little time. I'm not sure, but I will to look at the other chart in TOS to show you the weekly levels and to show you the moving averages in the futures. Even it's right here, okay? All right, so this is the level right here. Bear bull line, right there. Okay, that's a small little gap. We'll just have to see what happens with that. Okay. Now, as far as scenarios for the Nasdaq, it's very similar, very easy because of this. They're the same. Okay, they're the same. So, if we're going bullish, I'm looking for a push, clean these singles. Okay, try to get up and get a little pullback, and here's the time to defend it. You can go into demand, you go into the most traded price of Friday, overnight low, and see if we can defend it. You also have the 50% retracement, 50% Fibonacci of Friday. If you hold it, there you go. You can make that move back up into here, probably to 181.50 something, 52, 181.60. You can get that little pop up. Okay, that's what I'm really seeing here. You're above the most traded price of the month right here. That is very bullish. Okay. Now, could we drop here as well? That would be kind of like the breakout area and defend this and also move up. Yes. I'd prefer this, but you could also get this. You would take out, you would go down to Friday's lows. Okay. Now, bearish. Here's that weak low. So what has to happen? Push up. Higher low. You can test this area. If you break it and you hold and you find acceptance below this level, you are going to revisit Friday's lows, the most traded price of the month. That will be hard to rip through. However, if you do hold it and rip through this 100-day moving average on futures, you do have single prints and your attempt to fill the gap would be here. Gap fills down all the way down here, but there's a demand zone here, possibly. This is just a scenario. Okay, so that's kind of my feelings, or not my feelings, or my analysis. Okay, and like I said, I'm open. I don't have a bias. I just have to see the market, what it's doing, and what it's going to give me. That's the name of the game. All right, so I promised I would bring up the futures. So let's look at the futures and how they look with moving averages. Okay. All right. Just wanted to show you. So this is the ES. So right here you can see the 50-day moving averages, like I showed you in the market profile, but just to see it on a chart like this, 50-day moving averages right here, 51.84. Okay, it broke this downtrend. So, and look, we're right on. You're right on last week's highs. Okay, so you have to see if this could run right into this 50-day moving average. Okay, that's the ES. So look, you came right up here. I didn't draw the channel in, but you remember you have that channel resistance in the SPY that I showed you earlier. Now look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's 50-day moving average is right here. Okay, here's last week's highs. We're right at it right now in the futures. Okay, so can you tap that? So I notice in SPY 50-day moving average and the futures, people both look at both of them. So just to keep that in mind. All right. All right. So I hope everybody enjoyed that analysis. And please subscribe, set an alert. Okay, if you haven't already. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. And you can always follow me at X at Gonzo719. Okay. So we have our scenarios. We have our plan. Okay, but that plan could change when the market opens. All right, because I have to see what happens when the market opens, right? So anyway, hope everybody has a great day. Stay green, and I'll check back with you tomorrow morning. If not, if I see something of significance in the midday, I'll do some kind of midday update if there's something significant. All right, take it easy, everybody.